Okay, Dr. Lee, Dr. Staley. Wait about 1 more minute. Let's see if we can get anybody else to jump on the line. Otherwise, I'm going to get started. We can always provide to you PowerPoint presentation materials as well as a video and audio of this presentation so that you can review it in the future. So hopefully that will be helpful. And I am counting down 1 minute. And I realized while you guys didn't say anything, I had you muted, so sorry about that. Okay, there we have. We've got another one joining. Hello, who just joined the call? Oh, who just joined the call? Great, we got Tony. Okay, so I think we're going to go ahead and get started. I got a couple other participants on the line. I think we can follow up with them at a later time. Well, hello everyone. My name is Christopher De Silva, and along with my partner cohort James Trong, we're going to present to you part 1 and part 2 of the chart audit peer review, also known as CAPER, for medical directors with US HealthWorks. In the lesson, the 2 lessons that you guys are going to see, it's our whole. We've actually put it together in 2 parts. The first part, I'm going to demonstrate to you how the director establishes a peer-to-peer assignment, or peer assignments for the people that are under their tutelage, I guess you could say. And we're going to learn how to access the new chart audit system from Rocket. You're going to be able to assign and manage peer assignments. And you're going to be able to use the need help function if you need to make support development requests as well inside of the system. In part 2, James Trong is going to demonstrate the steps a provider has to follow to perform the chart audit and meet his quota. And the actual purpose of part 2 is to provide you the complete picture, your assignments, and then with what assignments you make, how the providers then can view the screen inside of the system, starting from peer assignment to the steps that the provider has to follow to complete their chart audit process. So that was a mouthful, but that's basically what we're going to cover. We'll review that info at the end of this presentation. And let me go forward. Give you guys a brief introduction. One of the quotes that has always stuck with me as a trainer. Okay, hello and welcome. My name is Christopher De Silva, and I'm one of the co-facilitators of this presentation, along with James Trong. Funny, I guess I have to laugh because I had it on mute and I actually did a nice paragraph and a couple pages of the presentation until I realized my phone was muted and you couldn't hear me. Anyway, again, my name is Chris De Silva. James Trong is going to handle part 2 of the lesson that we're going to go through. The lesson is intended, just to explain what we're going to do, is intended for directors, and it's divided into 2 parts. Part 1, I'll cover. I'm going to demonstrate how the director uses the system to establish peer assignments. And this, you'll learn how to access the new chart audit system from Rocket, how to assign and manage your peer assignments, how to view the information on all of your peer assignments, and how to use the need help function in case you need to open up a query request to the developers for a change or something you need to do on your system. In part 2, James is going to demonstrate the steps that a provider has to follow to perform the chart audit and meet his or her quota. The purpose of part 2 is to provide you the complete picture of the chart audit process, starting with the assignments that you make to the steps the provider follows and what they're going to see based on the choices that you've made on your peer assignments. So I know it was a mouthful, but I just wanted to kind of, in a nutshell, just put it together what we were going to go through. You can. Hello, who's this?
I can't see your screen.
Okay, so just so everybody else can hear the question, you said that you were under the understanding that automatically the assignments will be selected in the system and it will be taken out of your hands. And the answer is yes and no. When you log in, you will see your peer assignments from a drop-down menu on one side of the screen. And on the other side of the screen, you'll actually manually choose the provider you wish to review the other providers. So we have some screenshots that we'll be able to show you exactly how that's done, and it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. You won't have to guess who's under your in your region. They'll already be listed there, and under the drop downs, the peers that obviously a peer can't review themselves, they won't be listed in that drop down. So it makes it easier for you to kind of just pick and choose. You can assign multiple providers as well. But we'll go over that in the next coming few slides. Correct. You will assign them. You'll have them listed there, and then you have to choose just from a simple drop down, and then you just finalize. It's pretty simple. No worries at all. Okay, so one of the quotes that I like to remember is that most people don't need to learn anything new; they just need to be reminded. We're all from different places. We have different experience, and have been in the business for different lengths of time. So a lot of times, it's not that we need to rehash or learn something as if we never knew it. We just need to be reminded of some of the benchmarks, the protocols, and what the system is all about. And that's what I'm going to do right now for the benefit of some of those people who haven't been part of that. So the chart, as you can see on the screen, if you are not driving in traffic, as I think a couple of you are, essentially the chart audit is an internal examination of the medical records, whether they're electronic or hard copy, performed by the full-time providers on other full-time providers to identify the opportunities of improvement and ensure that the metrics that are set up beforehand are achieved to cover patient safety, accurate clinical documentation, administrative review, and billing. So the new chart audit peer review, or CABR as it's called, has been upgraded, and a lot of you are used to the old system. A lot of your recommendations as well have been were made over the past months to implement some of the changes that you're going to see in this new version that we're presenting to you today. One of the features is there's no actual login required, as the system automatically detects your current U.S. HealthWorks network credentials. I think my earpiece was dying, so if you didn't get that, there's no login required. The system automatically, based on your single sign-on credentials, automatically logs you in, and you'll be able to view and see your peer assignments right on the screen right away. Another thing is the permissions that are in there are based on the user credentials, as I mentioned earlier. And the system also is aware and applies permissions to view information based on the medical title hierarchy of the user, RMD, AMD, director, so on and so forth, or just if you're a provider, what you'll see in the system will be based on your login. Also, providers at the top level, they can view more information, and they have greater access, compared to the providers at a lower level of the hierarchy who just can see basically their own information. Essentially, the system is broken down in two parts for medical directors, that be RMD or AMD, the administration part of it, or the super user part, which is what I'm going to show you right now, and then the provider part, which James Trong is going to go into a little more detail, which is where the providers actually select and do the chart reviews, select the information and do the chart reviews on their peers. Any questions up to that point? Okay, great. Next, I want to kind of go over a couple of the new features and the differences between the old system and the new system. Number one of the biggest things I think is the better usability of the system. You know, more information is now visible easier, and you can actually search for information as opposed to looking through pages and pages of names and reviews. You can actually search for a specific provider and get that information really quickly. The updated user interface. I'm sorry, go ahead. Was that a question? In the coming slides that we're going to get some detail on that. We're just kind of giving like the outline of it first, and then as we go forward, you're going to see how to log in from a Rocket window into the system to use the peer assignment tool, and we'll show you all those screenshots in just a moment. Is that okay? Oh, you're not able to view them. So in the original, I'm sorry, you cannot. Hold on one second. Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Was it Rubelasco? I think the sharing feature, you should be able to see it now on the screen. There should be a link that's in it. There should be a link in the original invitation that you got. You're going to click on that link, and the link should open up with a meeting window. And on the screen now, you should actually see a slide that says key differences between the old and the new. Were you able to see it? Can you see it now? You still can't see it? Check on your computer. Is anybody else able to see the screen right now?
The powerful.
Oh, they got it. Okay. I couldn't have said it better myself. Was that Dr. Johns that I heard speaking? Okay. I'm on my way to Colorado next week, so I hope to see you when we get out there. Dr. Rubelasco, were you able to see that? The screen yet? Tony, can you send a link to Dr. Rubelasco really quick to his email? Rubelasco? Yeah, Diana Jones just got on the phone. She's like telling them how to do it. Yeah, I got you. I got you. Okay. Diana just sent it to him. You don't have to email him. So thank you, all the other doctors. I want to thank you guys for being patient as we get through these little few technical difficulties. You're in. You got it? Thank you, Dr. Johns, for your help. I appreciate it. Looks like we got somebody else that just joined the meeting. Welcome. Let me know when you see you have the screen. You got it. Great. So right now we're just going to go over a couple of the key differences, the old system to the new system. Obviously, as I said before, we don't need to be taught how to use the system, just reminded of some of the new features because they kind of tag onto the old system and how it used to work. So it really just makes everything a lot easier for you guys to manage as you move forward. Like I said before, the new version, better usability, so more information is visible for the end user. The system can display the progress towards quotas, so you can see what's missing, how many, if they have 3 out of 4 or 1 out of 2, and which specific chart reviews are done or not done. Again, if they're completed, you have clear green check marks that show you that it's been finalized and done. There's an updated user interface as well, cleaner, more intuitive, and more of a natural flow as it's described. Improved tracking is one of the other features. User no longer has to remember who they were reviewing. The system takes care of that. Because they're already listed, and that might have been what Doctor, you were referring to a little bit earlier as far as not having to select a reviewer. Well, who's being reviewed? No, but who's going to review them? Yes. Reporting capability, now that peer relationships are stored in the database, reports can be ran on the back end to track the progress and scoring over 1, 2, 3 quarters with other historical data. That's another good function. easier to manage review visibility, need-to-know basis based on your hierarchy, as I explained earlier. Only relevant results of what you need to see will be shown and visible to certain people. So if you're running specific types of reports, the providers could see certain things, and then RMD, AMDs would see other data based on their hierarchy in the company. A few other of the miscellaneous features, review quota and finalizing. Those are some of the things that I think were in the old system. It's still in place, but the new system tracks the progress for a given quarter. It makes it easier to pick up where you left off. So if you walk away from a computer after finishing a half of a 42-question assessment for a chart review, it can be saved, and you can come back, pick up that unfinished review at a later date. And then a new metaphor is added, finalizing. A set of reviews will continue to be used for the system. Once you complete your quotas for a given quarter, you click the finalize button, and it'll flag each quarter's review set as finalized. And so once that's done, then of course nobody will be ringing your phone saying, are your reviews done yet? And it's March 31st or April 1st or something like that. You will already know or be notified that your reviews are complete. A few other features. The old system allowed you to go back and retroactively add chart reviews. The new system closes that loop and does not allow you to do that. So once a quarter is done, that quarter is done. You can't go back to it. So hopefully all the information that's contained within will be correct. If a particular provider had a low score on a chart review, and at some point maybe some incentive was applied based on a low review, hopefully that can be addressed during the quarter while it's open and not after it's passed. You can certainly review previous quarters in the new system, but since it's a new system, there's no historical data as of yet. So January, February, March will be the first quarter, and that information will be readily available in this system. And keep in mind also that the old system data and information is not viewable in the new system. So if there are old reports and things that you need to look at, historical information from a year or two ago, then that's something that we'll have to make a special request to the developers so that they can pull that information for you based on your request. Any questions to that point? Okay, great. So now we're going to get into some of the context and the metrics of the system. Like I said before, as far as teaching something versus reminding, this is more of a reminder, just the context and the metrics of the MEC or the Medical Executive Committee and what they've decided, what the quarterly reviews will consist of. And most of you already know this, but I'll go over it right now. 4 new injury charts, 4 new follow-up injury charts, 2 pre-placement exams, and 2 DOT physical exams. Reviews are performed by the RMDs, AMDs pursuant to MEC guidelines, which most of you already know. And peer assignments can only be established by administrators, which all of you are, and they're assigned using the CAVR peer assignment tool, which you're going to see in a couple of slides. I'll be able to show you that. Lastly, peer assignments are usually established by administrators once a year, but sometimes there are factors that prevent you from doing that, including when providers might leave US Health Works. Peer assignments may need to be updated to reflect provider staffing changes, and there's some features and functionality in the help section that help you achieve that goal. So hopefully as we move forward, you'll see how easy it is to address all these issues as we move forward. So next up is business rules. We just want to go over a few of those really quick. The general business rules that the system is based on. Reviews can only be performed by a provider on staff, permanent provider. A provider may not review themselves, of course. A provider may review more than one provider, and a provider may review providers in other regions. Okay, so now we're at the beginning, part 1. Now you can actually see how to get to the new peer review system. Keep in mind also that it's not actually live yet. We're waiting for the go-ahead from management to release the new version to the masses. So hopefully in the coming days that will happen. From Rocket, which everyone's familiar with, you'll hover your mouse over the departments section, as you can see in the middle of the screen, and you'll get a drop down. You select medical, which you can see next to the number 1 that's highlighted. Once you select medical, you then have a new menu on the side, on the left side, and you'll see record review new. That's the new version, and below that you'll see record review old. If you try to click that currently now in Rocket, it'll tell you please use the old system until the new system is available. So it'll actually prompt you on that. But it should be available shortly. I'm not sure the exact time or date, but certainly is coming very soon. So once you click record review, it takes you, well, next we're going to talk about the peer assignment tool itself. Once we've gotten into it, the director will select a region. The regions are set up by the last name of that RMD or AMD in that specific area. So as you can see here, the drop down says region. Each region you'll see ANEGA, BUCKL. So basically there are 5 letters of the last name of that AMD or RMD. So we're going to select Dr. Shukir, who was on the call with us earlier today, SHOUC. We're going to select his region, and as he reminded me, he's also over Kentucky as well, so Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Kentucky, and you can see the highlighted areas in the middle of the screen. So from here to the right side under the reviewee column, you'll see the names of the providers, which are the reviewees. You can see Dr. Sisson, Dr. Gurala, Dr. Singh, Dr. Gandhi, Dr. Panjwani. And then to the left side, you can see where they are not assigned. And that's where you would just select the drop down. And when you select the drop down for that first one where you see Dr. Sisson, you would see every provider available to review Dr. Sisson except himself. So anytime that user is a reviewee, automatically the system knows I can't review myself, so it won't be listed in that assigned drop down. So on the next window, we can see here we've assigned the reviewer on the left to Dr. Sisson on the right. So Dr. Singh is reviewing Dr. Sisson, Dr. Gandhi, Dr. Gurala, and so on. The last one I set aside so that you can see Samir Panjwani is not in the drop-down list. He can't review himself. That's just one of the business rules that's set up inside of the system. Kind of a fail-safe for you guys. So are there any questions up to this point that you guys have? Great. I will move forward because this is a very easy, robust system. As I said earlier, one of the business rules, if you decide to assign a provider to review more than one reviewee, you're more than welcome to do so, as it says in the slide. In the figure below, Dr. Sisson will review both Dr. Gurala and Dr. Singh, so you can see where they've been assigned to, one doctor has been, or provider has been assigned to review 2 people, and that's just an example of that. You'll notice to the very right, you'll see a trash can. That particular icon is being changed, so it is not a delete button for a provider, but it is what's called an exempt button for a provider. So if a specific provider is exempt from doing a review, you'll select the icon, which is going to be, I think it's going to actually be a button that says exempt and not an actual trash can. So don't think you're deleting someone out of the system. So here's an example of where we would exempt a provider. Say this particular provider is no longer with U.S. HealthWorks, but he participated in the first quarter, but he's no longer here. So he's not going to review Dr. Lewandowski. We would then have to send a request to add a reviewer to review him. So, to exempt him. So we'll send the request to exempt this provider by clicking on the exempt or trash can icon as it is today. And once we do that, it will be grayed out, as you can see under Minnesota in the bottom next to the red arrow. So it's grayed out, and then the text inside the box, not being reviewed this quarter. So now I'm going to go over a couple of things in the need help section. This is close to the end of the administrator super user portion of this, and then I'm going to turn this over to James Strong. We're going to talk about how to use help and the best way to use it in the system. So there are a couple of buttons on the help menu: missing provider, extraneous provider, manual, assign request, and other. And you can see those if we have a missing provider, say a new provider is not showing up in the system, or maybe not in the correct region or something like that, you would select missing provider in the help section and you could address that. Extraneous provider, for providers displaying in 2 states, say they relocated from one state to another state, but they're showing as being under both states, you could then send a request to the developer to remove that a particular provider. Third, a manual assign request for states that only have a single provider. I don't know how many there are, but there are some. So there's only one provider at this one location. He can't or she can't review themselves. So you have to, as the director, assign a provider to review that particular provider in that region. This is done by, well, I'll ask the question. In the previous slide, we discussed exempting a provider by accident. Which one of the 4 help functions would you use to re-enable a provider if we actually accidentally exempted them? Does anyone know? Other. That's correct, Doctor. Other is where we would go to address that. It doesn't apply to the other 3 options. Just a little interaction that I wanted to incorporate into this presentation to keep everybody awake. So now I'm going to show you a little bit about the manual assign request button. Here's where the states with a single provider, as I mentioned earlier, we would actually click on the help button to the right hand side. You can see where it says need help. Once we do that, you'll get a drop down button, as you can see on the slide. On this slide, you're going to select manual assign request. Manual assign request, then we're going to type in the provider who's going to review the provider in that particular state, and then the developer will add it into your system for you. So that's the only time that you'll have to make a request like that. Normally, as we talked about earlier, all of the assignments are all there in your drop-down list for you to be able to select easily. Are there any questions? Great. This concludes the administrative part before we go into the deep dive. So are there any other questions or anything that if you don't want to say it on the call, that's fine. You can email that to John Moore, myself, or James Strong. We'll be happy to get back to you with your specific questions from the developer. But if there are no other questions, I'd like to take it to the next part of the assignment, which will be the deep dive. And I'm going to turn this over to James Strong. Welcome, James.
Thank you, Chris. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm James Strong, IT Training Specialist here at US HealthWorks. We are finished with part 1. Chris showed us the step you will follow to create peer assignments. Next, we will begin part 2. In part 2, I will demonstrate what steps any provider you assign to perform chart audit on another provider. Now, as you will recall, we assigned Dr. Sasson to audit 2 providers, Dr. Garala and Dr. Singh. The purpose of this second part is to give you a complete picture of the steps any providers you designate to perform the chart audit review. Your screen will also look different. Lesson 1 will be how to access peer review from Rocket. Like Chris has mentioned earlier, from Rocket, you would just simply hover your mouse over departments and select medical. From the left pane, scroll down and click on records review. Now let's pretend I am Dr. Alan Sisson. After clicking the record review new, it will log me into the home page. Now once I'm logged into the home page, up at the very top, this is our navigation bar, and you will see home and you see search. Anytime you want to go back to the home page, you simply click home. Anytime you want to search for a particular review, you click on search. Now, This is based on a single sign-on feature. The system automatically recognizes who you are. Because I'm logging in as Dr. Alan Sisson, notice it said hello Alan, and it also indicates our current quarter.
I got a couple of.
In the body of this homepage, it also indicates the provider's name that I will be reviewing. It also provides the center. It also lists the quota, and you can easily monitor the quota progress in this main screen. There are 3 actions buttons available for you to select, and they are Start, Continue, and Search. I notice on the top we have a button that is grayed out. This is the Finalize button. Now you will notice that this is currently grayed out. This is because the quota for this quarter has not been met. Medical directors, what questions do you have at this point? Okay, I take it as no questions. Okay, we're moving along. Now we will be talking about multi-peer reviews. And I will walk you through how you perform a multi-peer review. Users may be assigned by multiple peer reviews by their medical directors. Now notice the following fields are missing or disabled until you make a selection. Now in the screenshot here, you can see in the provider field, it indicates select. In the center field is empty. The quota is missing. The Start and Continue button is also disabled. That means that you need to select a provider to audit. Now to select a provider, you simply click the drop-down arrow and indicate the provider you'd like to review. Now in my example here, let's select Dr. Garala. Once I select Dr. Garala, it automatically takes me to my main screen. It will indicate the provider's name that I will be reviewing, the center, scalar part. It also indicates a quota for this quarter. And you can see that action buttons, Start, Continue, Search, they are enabled. Now let's talk about how to start a new review. To start a new review, you simply click on the Start button from your home page. Now it will take me over to my next screen. You will indicate the case type you like to review. There's a total of 4 different case types. The first one we have is new WC patient visit. The next one below we have established workers' comp patient visit. And you can see to my right, the quota column, we have 4 for that. Employment physical exams, our quota is 2. And our DOT quota is 2. Now, in the incomplete column, it would display the numbers of partially complete items for the quarter. Now, looking in this specific column, it indicates that established WC patient visit, there's 1 incomplete, meaning that maybe Dr. Alan Sisson is viewing Dr. Garala. Now, he might be documenting 5 questions. There's a total of 31 questions in this specific case form. Now he's not able to complete everything because he's seeing his patient. So he's stepping away from his desk, but before stepping away from his desk, he clicked the Save and Exit button. Now a couple of weeks later, he's ready to go in the system to continue where he left off. Now once he logs into his system from Rocket and takes him back to this page here, he can easily view that how many items are incomplete. And from here, you can see 1. Now in column number 4, it would display the column complete. Now it would display the numbers of completed items over here. And you can easily see that new workers' comp patient visit, we had completed 1 case, but the quota is 4. We need to complete 3 more cases. Now, however, when you're scrolling down here, you can see for physical exam and DOT, the quota of R2, and you will notice that we have completed both items. So it takes me over to column number 5. It's not labeled, but you can see that because we completed a quota, it indicates with a green check mark next to it. And you can tell that it's pretty nice, right? Isn't this pretty cool? That a new visit of workers' comp and established is not completed, you do not see that green check mark. Medical directors, what questions do you have? Isn't this better than our previous version? I'll take it as a yes. Okay. Now we will be talking about how to start a new review case for a workers' comp case. So in the following slides, I will walk you through how Dr. Alan Sison will audit Dr. Garola new work comp case. In the diagram below, Dr. Alan Sison has not met his new WC case quota. Looking in this screenshot here, you will notice that the quota is 4, but how many items is completed? It's 1, right? So that means that 3 more are needed to meet this quota. Alright, so Dr. Alan Sison would like to continue his auditing. So he will select the radio button for new WC patient visits, and he will click on the next button. Now this will take me to my next screen. Just as before, you would indicate the case number. Then you would choose appropriate response by selecting yes, no, or non-applicable for each question. And please make sure that when you select no, you would document a response below. And you will notice question number 42. As a provider, I document no. I want to indicate the comments below. I indicate no signature on chart. But you want to make sure all providers complete all questions. When you are finished, you must click one of the buttons at the end of the page. And you can see that from the screenshot here, we have 2 buttons you can select. The first button is in the color blue, save and start another new WC patient visits. So you can move on and audit the next new workers' comp case. Otherwise, if you're not able to finish this audit, you can simply click the save and exit button at the very bottom of the screen. Now let's talk about how to finish an incomplete review. To finish an incomplete review, you simply click the Continue button. Now, after you click the Continue button, it will take me over here to your next screen. Now, look at the status column over here. It will give you an indicator that what is not completed. Now, you can see a green check mark. It indicates the status that it has been completed, and the one with a yellow exclamation mark in yellow, this is incomplete. Now, I can simply go in the system, and it tells me that the case number 852-999-999 is incomplete. To go in the system to complete this specific case, I would just go in there to click on the case number, and it would take me over here to the next screen. I can go in the system, and right away it would tell me where I need to go, what questions are unanswered. And if you look at the screen here, question number 3 is unanswered, and it would be highlighted in yellow. For an established workers' comp case, there's a total of 31 questions. Now let's say I document 2 questions, and question number 3 all the way down to 31 is unanswered. You would when you're logging into your system, you will find that question 3 all the way down to 31, it would be highlighted in yellow. Medical directors, any questions so far? I'll take this as a no, so let's move on. How do I edit a review? To edit a review, you simply click the continue button. Let's say I want to make a review. I just want to edit my changes for our new workers' comp case, number 852.111.111. So I'll click here over the continue button, and I go find my specific case number I'd like to review. So let's say that this new workers' comp, there's a total of 42 questions, and I remembered specifically that I document no as an answer for one of the questions. So I go in the system here, I click this specific case number, and I can re-edit and make my change. And I remember question number 2, it should be yes, but I document no. I can simply go in there and make my changes. Make sure when I'm done, I click save and exit. Now, how do I search for reviews? Now, this is a pretty cool system because you can also search and you can also filter your search. A provider may filter the reviews by the following fields: the name of reviewee, the reviewee center, form types, name of reviewer, and status. Now, in the previous version, you would have to scroll all the way down and you would have to find the data. But in this system here, users don't have to scroll through endless data to find what they're looking for. It's easier to track and progress of their scoring. Now, to search for reviews, you have 2 options. At the very top from your navigation bar, you do have the search button, or you can locate. We have 3 action buttons. We also have a search button in yellow. So either format, you can click on the search button, and it will lead you over to your next screen. And this is how it looks like. Isn't this awesome?
Oh, wow.
Just like Excel, it allows for the auto filter feature. Users may use the drop-down arrow for each column to narrow down their search. In the review section, click the drop-down arrow to select the choice of your selection. Notice I'm logged in as Dr. Alan Sisson. Once I click the reviewee drop-down arrow, I can find that, okay, I want to find, how people graded me, or maybe how I grade other people. So in this example, let's select, okay, I want to view how I score for Dr. Carolla. Notice it filters down our search to pull up for Dr. Carolla as the reviewee. From here, you can view all the cases Dr. Sisson has audited for Dr. Carolla for this quarter. Now, in the reviewee center section, you can click on the drop-down arrow to select the name of the center you'd like to narrow down to view only. And from here, if I like to view a different center, I can select the drop-down arrow. Okay, what if I want to view different form types? I simply select my drop-down arrow and select the case type I'd like to view. Okay, for example, I want to review the new WC patient visit. I would select that as the option, and what happens? Now on my screen, I would only see view WC patient visit. I would not see the 3 other options. That would just filter down my search. Now in the reviewer section, you can select your drop-down arrow to narrow down your search. Again, on my screen, I I can see Dr. Alan Sisson and Dr. Singh. Now, if I want to view just only Dr. Singh as a reviewer, I will select Dr. Singh. And notice on my screen, it would just display Dr. Singh. Now, in the status section here, if I want to filter down to only identify a specific status, I will select that item and it will filter down my search. In my example here, just select incomplete. After I select incomplete, same thing that will happen, it will just filter down all my incomplete statuses. Medical directors, any questions? What questions do you have? Okay, moving on. The last item I have here is finalized review. Earlier, I was showing you a screenshot that if we have not met a quota, you would not see this green finalized button here. But notice from my screen, once you have completed your quota for this given quarter, the finalize button will be enabled. You will simply click to flag each quarter review set as finalized, and that's it. This concludes our peer review training. Medical directors, what questions do you have? If no questions, we will conclude this session for today. Thank you for your time.
Awesome job. Awesome job. Just look where you want.
Oh, it's this one. Where's my mute function? Mute the files. There it is. Okay, it's muted now.